Hey dudes, and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Dudes podcast. Today I'm with a great friend of mine and a great motivator, and one of the people why I started even with this project. And this man needs little introduction, but he will do it himself.
What's going on, mate? My name's Benjamin. Call me Benjamin. I'm a great friend of the Strong Dude author, Diary Dub, and he's a great friend of mine. You might say he's the greatest, and he's invited me, thankfully, to this podcast, and we'll be discussing some things about his comic.
The pleasure's all mine, and why I even wanted you to be here on this podcast is because you are. I want to prove to you and another friend of mine that being or doing something or producing something doesn't need the best pictures or the best anything. Like, I think just posting and having an intricate little story attached to it is, I think, more important than the visuals, because many people certainly can do great images and great pictures of characters and locations, but you really are, in my eyes, one of the best. Like, your ability to draw is one of the best I've seen from any of my friend group or of any people I've known. Really,
Thank you. Thank you.
I see, but a little. I can not see very much of it. Your work is very
I'm
secretive.
a little secretive, yeah.
Yes, and I think that it adds a little bit heat to the whole thing. But what is your opinion on it? Do you think that you can publish something, or you should publish something, even if you're not at the peak of your height?
Here's the thing, right? Um, you're never gonna be at the height. There's always room to learn. Now, problem is, if you stall too much, you will just never start to produce or to upload. You will produce and produce and produce, but you will never, no one might see it. This is not a bad thing necessarily. Some people do that, they just don't upload. But if you want to do that, I think the bigger pitfall is probably to stall, to wait for too long, rather than not being good enough or something. Especially, with like webcomics, um, they don't have to be, as you said, they don't really have to be very skillful. People still appreciate them. Thankfully, there are websites where people still appreciate those webcomics, and it's quite common to see webcomics that are not entirely polished visually, but they want to tell a story, and it's probably best to start. You might maybe remake the comic later if you want to, when you develop your skills more, but starting is actually pretty good, and I think you're onto something there.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm my philosophy around the creation of something artistic, not even the doing part, more the creating
Yeah.
and publishing and showing has so much meaning, because once I was going under a tunnel, and there was a very big graffiti of someone graffitiing on the wall, and it said, "Hey, I was here," or in this meaning, there was like, "Summit is here," or "was here,"
Yeah.
and I think that's very beautiful in itself, because we as humans, we try to make ourselves immortal by our creations.
Yes. Leave our mark.
Right, right. But how effective is this, and how up long will this be something that people will look upon you, and why do we have this share of why will we share this sentiment of wanting to overcome even death with our name and with our deeds.
Well, very very interesting topics that you're touching on there. But I mean, the graffiti thing, I also think it's beautiful in a way. Even though maybe many people won't really see that, people don't know who the author really is, but maybe that doesn't really matter to the author that much. And I mean, how do you answer this question? I feel like the more you learn about this, the more you progress, maybe as an artist, the less you can really say about this concretely. But I mean, it's the things we do. I would also say are probably a form of death denial, and at the end of the day, I guess you could say who denies death more effectively, the person who leaves stuff everywhere, who tries to like really get their handprint everywhere, doesn't matter the quality, or the person who really tries to do like a perfect like life work, like one thing. I mean, maybe it's both in a way. I mean, some people are just not known for like a lot. I don't know. Tolkien is not known for like that, like many different works. Maybe like the most. I guess most people haven't really read most of the things he published. Um, it's Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and he worked on those like for a long time. And I mean, he has he's died. So I guess we can't really deny death to the most effective in the most effective way. But I mean, we remember him like a lot. But it's also his skill. Like the reason we remember him a lot is also his skill, because without his skill, we wouldn't really look up to him as like the grandfather of modern fantasy. However, maybe I don't know, maybe he would have died before he finished Lord of the Rings or whatever, and in fact he didn't finish some of his works. Some of his works were published after he died. And yeah, and what if you die? I guess you could say, what if you die before? I mean, you could always say like, I'll die, I could die tomorrow or something, and then you'll have nothing. I try to not think about that too much. Like the reason why why I don't publish right now, and in fact, I wanted to do more like you. Like 3 years ago, I started to develop vague concept of a comic myself, and I wanted to kind of immediately start publishing so that I just have started. But at some point, I thought, well, I can polish this a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and maybe I fell into this pit of, just I want to get better and better and better before I start. But I've changed this philosophy where maybe it's not really a pitfall anymore. It's maybe a good thing, because what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to polish my skills, but it's not really about the goal, not just about the goal, but I found new meaning or like new fun in the polishing, like in the act of enhancing my skills. I like, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and before it wasn't, which is not a good position to be in as an artist. I feel like you should enjoy to like develop your skills, because honestly, that's like a lot of what you do often. So you should, but many artists don't really enjoy that because they only look at the goal, I guess. I mean, I did that for a long time, but I think I've now, like, I'm sitting, for example, at one piece uh, of of work. I'm sitting at one piece um, of work for like, I've been doing this for like 3 weeks. It's not even that, like, it's not even that big, but I'm constantly changing stuff. But it doesn't really matter. It's not like a bad thing. I just like doing it, and in the process, I'm like learning things. That's that's I think that's a good place to be right now for me. What about you? Like, what do you think? Like, would you? you want to continue uploading this like at the same rate? Would you take breaks to kind of hone your skills, or don't do you really like, how much do you care about that?
Uh, My position in this is more if I am willing to evolve and learn more, and by using the resources I have now instead of like before even like I started the comic,
Yeah.
um, can see clear as day how my style has changed and how I draw and how I make and even if you saw the new chapter,
Yeah.
you can see how I criticize myself in this comic and say, "What the fuck is this
Yes.
perspective?" Because I didn't quite do it. I could not do it as much as I liked, so I just did like a half stickman, half like real body stuff
Yeah.
because Samuel or the Red Rouge is more like an it's like a normal knight with a twisted dark
Yes. Very
like
twisted.
yeah, he's twisted very dark, and the strong dude is just if you didn't read it first, the last three chapters, two and a half I say, please read it and then come back to this. I give you 5 seconds because I'm gonna spoil some. Okay, one, two, three. So
Okay, I've read it.
okay, good. Welcome back.
Eh.
What I wanted to say is Sir Manuel or the Red Rouge fights with the strong dude
Or the
essentially.
Reaper.
The Reaper to the global population may call him the Red Rouge.
Yeah.
His enemies may call him the Reaper, and his friends call him Manuel. And the Red Rouge, of course, is a noble knight in this scenario. Uh, he fights the strong dude in this sentiment, and he speaks very posh. He then fights the dude with several of his weapons and the swords. He has a arrangement of swords. As you can see, you have
That's
Excalibur
yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask a question about that
okay, okay, hang
later.
on, okay,
But
okay, okay, okay,
finish your thought.
okay. And sometimes you don't do it, and so it stalls your progress because I don't have this the vision or how I do this exactly. So what
Mm.
I did instead, because I was very like, what do I do now? You can I'm right in class. I wanted to make this. I cannot hear like a
Mm.
YouTube video right now,
Yeah.
and I don't have the time to like make a like a 3D model of something and look at this. I think I'm just eyeball it right as it is, and then it goes on. Just
Yeah.
go on with the story. People are waiting for you.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah. Thing is, I mean, you're right. Perspective is a killer. It's quite advanced. Especially that wasn't an easy perspective to like to illustrate. So you know whatever. Like it's you see you already see developments from the first chapter. Like actually till now. So that's just something that the comic does. Like it just develops further. Maybe later on you could have, I mean, I don't want to like uh inadvertently spoil anything, but I imagine sometimes later, like when you're like if you want to do this and you get better at like perspective drawing, and then sometime in the future you have like a huge panel of Sir Manuel in the same like pose and perspective, maybe like again, but not against the strong dude, maybe against like a common enemy, maybe because I for some reason I imagine them like after this huge fight being friends in a way. I mean, the strong dude isn't really antagonizing Sir Manuel. Sir Manuel has antagonized the strong dude, but I feel like he's maybe gonna change in that way. I somehow feel like he's good. I mean, you've called him a noble knight too, and that's what is. By the way, the names maybe I don't know if it's intended, but the comic calls Sir Manuel, and his friends call him Sir Manuel. So maybe that's a hint that Sir Manuel is actually like the comic sees Sir Manuel as a good person. Maybe I don't know. It's maybe far fetched, but um, really interesting character. I wanted to ask something about the swords,
Mhm.
if I may. So, if you, I don't know if you wanted to mention something
Say,
else.
okay. So you
So,
can go on. You can go on.
okay. So, what's really interesting is he has like a variety of swords, right? I mean, he has
Yes.
like three. We have seen three.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, First thing, it's maybe very far fetched, but he's basically creating, and this was not the newest chapter. This was actually the third last one, I think. He
I
he
think it's seventh. Or like, oh, okay. No. I mean what I know what you mean.
he creates like the first sword. He creates it out of his hand. Um, Now you have like a different effect, but it has crossed my mind that isn't this basically how the strong dude is maybe described? I mean, he doesn't make swords, but he's described to be a flesh maker. He makes flesh out of thin air. Now it's not swords, but I have a feeling that maybe Sir Manulus maybe um, could be more similar to the strong dude than we think. Um,
That's a very good observation because their powers both lie in the creation of
yeah.
them, and you could say a sword is an extension of yourself.
Yes.
Sir Manuel is not very bound to his weapon as the strong dude with his claws and his like his extended limbs and arms and like I understand
Mm-hmm.
how you come from this, and this is also a very important point of the story. The creation, like how I create this comic. Uh, I like to f- give. I have the story in my head, how it's gonna go, and what the end is, and what happens
Oh, okay.
between. For me, I want the story is I think in this so important, but if the visuals don't give that sense, like now understand how important visual like adaptation to the story is,
Yeah.
because if you cannot show the eye, it also tells like says words and stories
Yes. Yes. As a visual
and if
medium, like we rely only somewhat on written word.
right right
We have visual. It's a visual medium.
and I hate to be I really with the word hate. I hate how you watch an anime or you watch some show. The Japanese do this the most, of
Yeah.
course, because they don't value the intellect of the viewer or the consumer much.
Uh huh.
Because you see a giant ass tower, okay?
Yeah.
Like this tower is coming out of the like of a volcano, okay?
Yeah.
I was like, what? The tower came out the volcano? Man, I have two eyes, man.
Yeah.
You don't need to say that again.
Yeah. Well,
If I
it's
would be in the anime, I would slap the fucking shit out of them, dude. Because fuck you. Can I see? Can I see myself, bro? Why do you have to say that 1,000 and a billion and 30 million trillion times? I hate this, and I think you undermine like it's like you have two dudes, okay? The
Yeah,
one is speaking,
and they're
and the one
kissing.
is like, and they sometimes, and they
Mm-hmm.
they need to be kissing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you interrupt it by kissing. No, wait, we go back. You
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
two
Fuck, go back.
two guys, okay?
Yeah,
You have the guy who is like the words, and you have the guy who is the visual. And
yeah.
the visual guy wants to tell you something, but then the fucking
It's the
word guy
bird. It's the like
repeats it.
the little bird and the big like the crow. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that,
yeah,
and he's like
yeah, yeah,
shouting
yeah.
over him.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. That meme, yeah. And it's exactly that. And I hate to be this guy, but I think music plays is like a more little dude. It can convey things, but I think no story. I think more elements of emotion and how you
Yeah,
perceive this visual or the story.
man.
But I think in like comics, the visual and the words do have to you have to use both, It's- or your story gets boring.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
I mean, I'd like to say, well, it doesn't really play a big role for comics, but I'd like to say that music's pretty huge for me. I think that's a pretty huge guy, because music to me, it's pretty like manipulate can manipulate my view of what I'm seeing. I see this in games the most, but also in movies and stuff. Of course, in comics you don't really have like very limited use. Actually, in Webtoon you could put in music in Webtoon. I think somehow I've seen ones that put them in at certain points.
Wait, you can put
I
music?
think so. I've seen webtoons where you open a webtoon and at the beginning it plays a song. It doesn't know how far you've scrolled down, so you couldn't like sync up. I think panels with specific parts of the music, like in a boss soundtrack. But I've seen some people put in like, but it's quite basic. I think it's quite a basic mechanic. I man, I'd love to put them by like I'd like to have that like a bit more polished version of that tool. That would be great. I love music like that. But right now, I don't know if it's really worth it for comics. But yeah, what you said, I mean, it's totally true. The word is it has to be carefully like placed. We don't want. I think what you see in comics, what I really don't like, is like clutter of uh, speech bubbles. Too much like too much lettering. You actually want to see something. Um,
Yeah.
you
At
do
this
that
point,
quite.
read a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be that obnoxiously long, man.
yeah. You do that quite well. As I think that I mean it's mostly the visuals, and you're quite confident with it. I think that many of the problems that you've mentioned with anime, for example, is maybe a lack of confidence in people getting it. Like maybe people won't get what I'm trying to like say
Hmm.
because maybe they're just I'm not confident enough in my skills. So maybe I should just narrate everything or something. Oh, maybe manga do that. I don't actually read a lot of manga. Maybe manga do that a lot. Because sometimes in manga you actually do not see what's happening at all. But I don't know why. I mean, it's other mediums, media too. But
Yeah,
yeah,
very. Yeah,
it's quite annoying.
yeah. It really depends on what media you use. You're right on that take. So, but let me get more to you, okay?
Yeah.
So, why did I actually wanted you to publish something or get out with it and start with the word? Because I think this is no glazing, okay? This a
Mm.
little it's a little glazing, okay? It's
Okay.
a little glazing,
Okay.
and I think you are one of the most talented people I've came across,
Oh yeah.
and the thing, okay, okay, start with the rubbing, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I really think it's like a total waste if nothing ever comes from you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching from the sidelines more because you want me to be also like consuming what you do,
Mm.
and I want to. I want to also have this, and the problem also that you will gonna face with what I did and how you will do
Yeah.
is how appreciative your friends are to what you can do, because many people that read my comics, you know what I mean. You will post something, and everybody in the friend group will say, "Oh my God, this is the best picture."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, oh my God, he's Picasso, and so on. But there there is no real there's a real person. Uh, This is not a real comment to your attachment or what you do, because
It's not neutral.
you
Yeah.
yeah, but you want people to consume it and read into it a little bit. What does this mean? What what is the author trying to tell me? But they don't do it because they don't have faith in you doing this. They said, okay, no, 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 you can't do that, man.
Yeah.
That's very hard. So actually, if you want to impress someone, it can't be a friend. A friend is never that impressed from you
Yeah.
in that sentiment.
I know what you mean. I mean, I've been well. Thank you for first of all for the glazing,
No
but
problem, man.
I haven't quite finished, but maybe later.
Okay, okay.
When you know, when I did art for quite a while, like generally, I took it more serious sometimes and less serious sometimes. But I'm pretty much doing it for. I've been doing it since I was I don't know 5, like 4 or something. So
Four.
people have complimented me a lot, but it really is. I don't want to say it's not to be trusted, but it is to be trusted. I don't think they're lying, but maybe a bit of lying. I don't know. Maybe like I feel like maybe there's like a little bit of exaggeration there.
Mhm.
They're well, everyone's well-meaning. Um, at some
I
point,
know I know what you mean. Yeah.
when you're trying to improve, it stops being useful. You just kind of gotta get into
Yeah.
like artist groups or whatever, and
Mhm.
get your critique there.
I
It's
I
quite useful.
you know what my perspective towards friendship and what is actually healthy and what you need to do in a healthy friendship relationship.
Yeah.
I think honesty is a very big value, and even if in the moment you you step on a nail with your
Mm.
honesty, it will be better for the rest of the thing, because just saying, wow, this is good and
Yeah.
this and that, and if you see your friend get defensive about it,
Yeah.
I think you should under you should state why you say this, and also why you think the person you say this, because from the bottom of your heart you think this person has a chance to achieve something. And even if you think this is like a total waste of time, I think s- say uh, a wise man once said, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything. And good
Mm.
saying doesn't mean like glazing only. No, not just any glazing. You have also to have good saying means also having a good critique. Like for example, I think there's something wrong with this picture, and I cannot explain how. It has something to do with the head. For example, if you were saying something like that,
Yeah.
and if the person said no, there's nothing wrong with the head, then I think there should first of all check yourself before you wreck yourself. Ice Cube said. But I think first check yourself. Is what he says right? If you are still on the way of saying, okay, what this cannot be. This is of course something is wrong with this picture. Then you should state this and say, hey, from the bottom of my heart, I think this is like this. If you don't think it's something else, I think this is like this. So give them a way to like how do you say this in English? Like to consume it and like get it in their system.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's right. I would only really add that maybe you know when like an artist asks for critique,
Mm-hmm.
I think you know should make an effort to honestly critique. Sometimes they don't really like. Often they don't ask for it. If they don't ask for it, I wouldn't give it. Uh, really, like I wouldn't say. I think like I have some notes here. Look at this. This is kind of wrong. This is kind of wrong. I don't think I would do that. I mean, you could do it. Like you could be like, oh, nobody can stop me. I'm gonna say what I want. But because they specifically come to people to ask like what could be wrong with this. If they don't, maybe they want like just a compliment. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they just want to throw it out there. I usually don't go to the artist since like without it being solicited and say, well, I think this is wrong with it. I don't necessarily always compliment it either, but I try to kind of see more of the value behind it, or maybe kind of I'll just see well how it may how does it make me feel or whatever. Maybe there are mistakes in it, but whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think okay, I think you're definitely right. Like there has to be a place and time for everything, and this is one of those things for like if 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 it if the situation calls for it, like if you can feel it out, like if he says, hey, look at this picture, how do you think of this?
yeah,
Then I can think, hey, this is a great picture. His head is a little bit this, and this. I think you should then stop with this. I think then, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think that you could go with you can go with this route,
yeah, yeah.
but to come back to another field of like topic,
Mm-hmm.
you yourself, you learned, you said from the age of 5 to 4 you started drawing, then it came something, and I think for me the point where I thought you are like drawing the
Mm.
most is like in the in the first year of Abitur. For those who watch this, we are currently living in Germany. And in Germany, if you want to like go into uni or into college, you gotta have a 3 year like extension to your school years. That means you go to like from first class to 10th class, and then you can go to like an extended school, or if your school is like a Gesamtschule or like a gymnasium, you can still continue it. Gesamtschule is like a school where every part of like people go to, like it's more of public school, I think. And gymnasium is there for the like the smart and the rich
Well,
people. Yeah.
it's shifted a bit. So both are pretty public, I think. But I don't actually know what the exact like how they differentiate between them. Maybe I should know that since I'm probably gonna teach in one of those.
Yeah, my friend Benjamin is gonna be like a teacher. What like topics do you cover?
Well,
What
you
subjects?
choose 2 subjects in Germany. Mine are Well, originally they were chemistry and history.
History, right?
I've basically dropped out of chemistry. Maybe I'll redo it sometime, but now it's history and social sciences, probably the equivalent. Uh,
Okay.
co- Actually, pretty good for like world building stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get with history, it's pretty straightforward. It's like, well, history, like it helps you world build, like
Hmm.
fantasy world or whatever. And with
It
social
happens, yeah.
sciences, it's actually like a little bit more dark and twisted sometimes, because you get the you kind of we're going into like Jungian archetype territory with this. You know what I mean? Like, where it's very you get the kind of the philosophy
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
teaching degree. You often do like philosophy of economy, or like philosophy of political science, or whatever,
Yeah.
or in
So
politics.
the big politicians,
Yeah.
how uh, they're like wolves in sheep's clothes, or
Well, I mean,
y-
we probably don't go in that angle, but yeah, you could say that, maybe.
I think. Okay, we stop right here. Um,
On the topic of world building,
of course,
can we kind of talk about
for
world building of
I
Strong
think
Dude a
you,
little bit?
I think your like way of living exactly is you live in a little strange situation where you like will be a teacher and you will be releasing like these comics and something. Okay, so actually I can imagine like your pupils coming to you and your students and asking you the stuff that is happening in your comics and such.
Thierry?
um and I think you can hide that either. I think because what I did most of the time, because I wanted to look up the number of a teacher, for example, and I wrote their name in like a search bar, or if you operate under a pseudonym,
Is
like
it
what is pseudonym in English? Like a new name or a fake name. If you operate into with that, then I think nobody will know that you did this. But also, you lose part of the appreciation towards your uh, like work on stuff, and more the internet people will like cherish what you did. And I think in real life is I think much greater than like the online presence of people that love you and stuff. And I think we chase that a little bit also, you know. Oh wait, hello, hello, Benjamin. We have a little technical difficulties right now. Oh, my friend Benjamin Alva just yeah, he left. uh yeah. Now we have to wait. We have to chill. So let me talk a little bit myself for the little duration he will be coming back. I'm really into love with writing stories about the strong dude and uh, about all the stuff that's happening. And why I love it is because characters in my universe that I created, they adhere to these rules, and I love how to play with these rules of like how the world is and what happened, how is it like this and that. For example, we have the new uh chapter, the newest, where Sir Manuel literally cuts the world in two, and the strong dude has to adhere to these mighty like powers. But after the fight, even if someone loses or wins, the world is now cut in two. How how is this gonna keep going? If you know what I mean. How do we change what happened? So, and I think this is like also world building Of course, it's world destroying more, but it's also a way of world building that is very cool if you play more with the world, not just the people into it. It's like Ontan said a great thing. Ontan is like a German YouTuber who said that there's a micro world building, like very small changes in the world will occur. What makes little world building, like for example, how a mug stands in the room, or for example, how the shoes are lined up and so on. This is like the world building that also brings like
I'm
okay,
back.
we got him back. We got him back.
I'm back. I'm
I
back.
was I was just talking about how like there's a term for world building. You have done the micro world building done by a German YouTuber or TikToker named Ontan. But I will coin another term called macro world building. Okay,
Uh huh.
because I think that the giant changes in like how the world plays out, like the
Yeah.
really like the interdimensional the intergalactical stuff that really plays a big story into the small little people. I think this is also a very cool way to show how like stories evolve and change because of the conditions in the world, and what like uh, outer conditions involve the world we live.
Like
For
how? Do you mean? So do
you
you
can talk
mean?
about it. You can talk about it.
Do you mean like something that the characters do that change the like the world, or do you think that do you mean like things that are just given circumstances? Because maybe I can think of one thing that's kind of world changing, which is basically the world being split
Oh, I talked about this
in half,
also.
which is a quite kind of interesting path, very interesting actually, or kind of
Yeah.
shocking because you don't really think of like that high power levels when you see the strong dude maybe first, but it's like actually uh, what do you say? Like we could scale Sir Manuel to planetary level.
So he's of course we saw he's like planetary, also the medium planetary size.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
could you can all the power builders in the comments can tell who loses against Samuel. Please write that in the comments if you're still here with us. I want to make this that much bigger as it is right now. We have like 42 minutes right now. But
yeah.
what I want to say is, first of all, we have the 24th of December 2024. There will be a
Yes.
lot of changes in the next year, and why
Oh,
there will be eventually less uploads of the strong dude. Don't fear, there will be more, of course, but I will be undertaking a lot of things. My body will change. I'm not transgender. I'm gonna lose weight. Um,
mm,
there is a lot of things like school that's going to stop for me, and I have now to read up on a lot of things, like for my exams. And if I'm finished with the exam, I will be free as a bird. And after that, there will be more uploads. But 2024 will be a monumental year eventually for me, because also maybe I will be stop seeking like medical attention. After that, I hope that how I live out my life and how I continue the story will be for the good of everything that I touch, including uh, Benjamin. Okay,
yeah.
so we can discuss, I think, one topic, and then we should, uh, yeah, we should smooth out.
Yeah. Um. Well, would you like to change from the world building stuff? Would you like a new topic or?
Wait. I didn't really explain it. Sorry. For me, uh, uh, like the influence like of Samuel splitting the world into two will also influence the outer stuff, like
Yeah.
what outer space or like what happens to the like the molten lava in the earth.
Bro,
And,
it's the world. Like, does anyone survive? Like, what are you saying?
I'm not
It's
spoiling anything, but there will be stuff happening, of
it's
course.
f- yeah.
And I wanted I have this image in my head of how the world will be, okay? And I love this image because I never seen it anywhere else, and I think this opens
Oh,
up
okay.
a lot of like unlimited possibilities for anyone wanting to create something like this. I think I've struck gold with this, and sometimes you find like an idea or something that is great, very far greater than what you have think to create. You know,
No,
it's bigger than yourself.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've always felt like, and maybe this will continue with the changes you have in mind. I've always felt like this world, um, it's maybe it really seems like a world of like a video game that Germa would make like a stream
Uh,
of. You know what I mean? Like Germa would play the strong dude video game.
if it was a game. Oh,
That's actually an
okay.
interesting thought. That maybe I wanted to ask that too. Like a game could be interesting, like a strong dude game. Honestly, with the
And you
style that you have, there is software I think that you could use right now, pretty much to like make something. You don't have to like go AAA, like whatever. It's.
no.
I mean,
But this is actually a very good idea.
maybe
If
Germa
any
will play it. You think
if
about that.
if this will happen, I will happily and gleefully can now die because everything happened that should be happening, and then now I don't need to be in this anymore. But if anyone here listens and wants to make the strong dude game happen, okay,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like a brawl type, like an
Yeah.
exploring mission RPG stuff. That the word style I can imagine how it is, like this pixel but 3D esque style.
Yeah.
I think this could be very interesting, very funny actually. Like I think this could be something. I think this could be something.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so. I think so too. Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, I want to end this with a little request for anyone now gleefully being alone in the holidays right now. Um, I have a little music recommendation, if I might add that. There's a song from Tyler One. Okay, this song is called "Thank You," but the original, like the original song for this was "Fragile" by one second. I don't know what it's called. Fragile. One second. Fragile Tatsu. No. It was Tatsu Yamashita that made Fragile. A very very interesting piece. You can hear it very often in popular media, but I think not many people know about Tatsuro Yamashita. Her songs are very cool. You can. It's a very old like producer, and yeah, hear it. Do what you want with it. Do you have any recommendation? Gaming or music or anything related? Actually,
Um. Well, I'd say there's a. Honestly, the song that comes to mind is the main title sound, like the main theme of Dark Souls 3 by Yuka Kitamura. And
Mhm.
in fact, just go listen to the entire Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, couple songs from Dark Souls 2 maybe, and couple songs from Demon Souls, and then the entire Elden Ring, and then Sekiro soundtrack. Just listen to all of it. It's the best music probably that you will ever hear. If you kind of like this style of music, it's game music. It's like video game music, but it's really good. Um, and
Yeah.
for games, I think probably The Long Drive is probably a great game. Like it's a very interesting game, I think. Um, and yeah, look it up. Maybe either play the game or maybe watch like a stream
Yeah,
of the game.
or maybe go on Roblox. It's like the game was
Maybe, yeah,
remade in Roblox. You can play that too.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and yeah, I wish all of you great days. Yeah,
Get good.
have a get good, no? Get a great 2025 and reminiscent what happened in 2024. Not anything about Gaza, please. This will always lead to bad things in your mind.
That came out of nowhere. What?
So guys, just be happy, man. Nothing
Yeah,
is.
just be happy. Like,
Ju- ju- ju-
what's your problem, man?
what's your problem, man? Just be happy, man. If you can be, what? It's so easy, man. Of
Read
course,
some strong dude, and you'll
read
be
some
happy.
strong good, and the new chapter is out right now upon this publishing of this podcast. So yeah, have fun with it. Bye bye.